Hello, this is Matt Connor with FanSided. So glad to have here with us for a few minutes Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Marquez, 6 years in the league, carved out a great role as a deep threat with some of the most prolific offenses in that time. But you're coming off a little bit of a tough loss yesterday. First of all, thanks so much for joining us today. I know you're doing some
Yeah,
cool
man.
stuff with Charmin. We'll get to that in just a second. Um, but yeah, wanted to see look, so much is made of that's one of the longest streaks ever in NFL history to be dominant over one team. 16 straight for that to be broken. I think a lot of people are saying, man, it's got to be broken sometime. It's just like winning is hard in the NFL. Wondering how you guys are sort of carrying that loss the day after.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to flush it. We got a new week. That's the beautiful thing about this league that we play in, man. It's 17 games, and Super Bowl isn't won in week 7 or week 8. So there hasn't been too many teams that went undefeated and won a Super Bowl. So I think that's kind of how we take it and move on to the next week and try to go 1-0.
Is it hard to know, like, to take a lesson from that? I can imagine just kind of wanting to say, look, just burn the tape, forget it, let's move on, whatever. Or is there a sense of like just trying to totally turn the corner, or is there a sense of like, no, we like what can we pull from that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you pull things from games that you win as well. No game is perfect. Obviously we all want to be perfect every single play. But it's a team sport and it takes all 11 guys to be, a good football team every single play. And so being able to go in and look at the things that we did wrong and how to correct them. And obviously we play this team twice a year and we just played them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we're their common opponent. And it was one of those games where, we didn't play our best and they played their hearts out and kudos to them for going out and getting the victory.
The Chiefs have a very, very young wide receiver room overall, which makes you an elder statesman there. Your years in Green Bay, then here's your second year in Kansas City. What's that role been like for you around some of these other guys who maybe don't have as many years or the reps or the experience? And like, have you relished taking on that role? What's that been like in this first half of the season?
Yeah, man, it's, obviously being, 6 years into the NFL, um, you've seen a lot of football. I've been a part of a lot of great teams. And so being able to go in and teach those younger guys who, maybe their first or second year, even, going into their third year, it's been a great opportunity for myself to kind of bring those guys along and, through the ups and the downs, there's going to be adversity. There's going to be, hate from the outside world that they have to block out. I've been a part of all of that. I've been a part of great teams, been a part of teams that didn't do so well, like in my first year. So coming into a situation where, you're fresh off of a Super Bowl win and the expectations are so high for, the number one offense to go back and be the same number one offense again, it's a new year. And there's new guys, there's, 30% of your team gets turned over every year. There's a draft every year. So it's just one of those things where it's going to come together. And when it does, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing.
I love what you just said. Do you feel like a lot of people maybe forget that or overlook that, especially like from an outside perspective, fans, analysts, whatever, where you say, oh, you've been number one for so long or this prolific, and yet there is so much turnover. There's so much parity just week to week. These are elite athletes and everything does change like that. Do you feel like that's lost on a lot of people, the difficulty of maintaining those sorts of levels?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes as your staples of the offense, you know, and obviously Travis is one of the best tight ends to ever play this game. They want to see, 40 points scored week in and week out, and, obviously they've been doing that for, even before I got here, and obviously go in and win a Super Bowl last year and, be the number one offense and do all this great stuff that we did last year. But there was times last year where we struggled as well, and I think fans kind of they get lost in, us scoring 50 points a week. And it's not that easy, man. Like I said, there's a lot of turnover. We have, pretty much a brand new receiver room this year. We got two new tackles. And then obviously, with our running backs, those guys been there all year, even last year. But even Pacheco, it's only his second year as well. So I think
Mm.
fans just kind of get lost in that. They want to see, 60 points scored week in and week out. And, you know, they get paid on the other side of the ball too to stop us. So, they're not gonna let us just do whatever we want week in and week out, and obviously Pat's been doing this thing for a long time and it's been really good for a long time. So they're gonna try to figure out ways to kind of slow him down.
I'm glad you brought up both the prolific offenses that you've been a part of in the past and working with Mahomes and Kelsey here. Feels like a lot of guys may even play much longer and never get the chance to play with even a good quarterback, right? Guys who
Hmm.
are stuck on maybe some bad teams or whatever. Like you've been certainly blessed, fortunate to play with two of the greats ever to play the game. Do you ever like reflect on some of that and your ability to? I mean, obviously in free agency you're able to choose this round. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah. I mean, that's a pretty great. If you got to be a deep threat, it'd be a nice. It's a nice place to be a deep threat.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I played with the two best quarterbacks to ever play this game, and I think I've been fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to do that for the 6 years that I've been in the league. And obviously, I can't throw myself the ball, because I would do it every play if I could. So they've had the trust in me to throw me the ball and me make those plays for them, week in and week out, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
I know you're doing some cool stuff with Charmin here
Mhm.
in advance of the game in Frankfurt next week. Can you tell us more about that? What you're doing with them?
I think just being such a routine guy, then having to travel all the way across the country or all the way across the world. Matter of fact, to go to a different place to play a football game, you kind of want to be able to stick into the same routine. And I think Sharman's been able to help me out with that. It's been a great experience to partner with those guys and be able to keep my same routine because you just never know what kind of toilet paper you're going to get when you get to the other side of the world. So Charmin been able to, help me out and keep me prepared for, whatever may go down over in Germany.
Speaking of what's going to go down in Germany, this is a big game. I mean, this is
Hmm.
definitely the best exhibition, at least in terms of win percentage, ever played in an international, London or anywhere on the part of the NFL. Fans think I've circled this date for a long time. You have Tyreek Hill playing his former team. You have the offensive machine, so to speak, in Miami facing, like we were just talking about, the prolific, reputation of the Chiefs' own offense. Have you guys had this circled? And I know a lot of the talk is like, well, we're just focused on 1 week at a time. Like that's the typical coach speak, player speak. But in a way, you've got to have some games that stand out more than others. I mean, has this been one of them for the guys on the team or for you at all?
It hasn't for me, and I don't really think it is for any of the guys on the team. We don't really
No,
have any, animosity toward Miami. It's not like a divisional opponent. Obviously Tyreek played here, but that was before me. So, I don't have any beef
sure.
with him. We work out together in the off season. Um, maybe he might have some animosity on his end, but from our end, like I think both sides got what they wanted. He got to go off and get the money that he wanted, still be doing great things in his career. We came over here and won a Super Bowl, so I think both sides won the deal. I don't really think that there's any, you know, extra added hype outside of what, the fans are making it out to be. Obviously, if he was coming back to Arrowhead and playing here, it would have been a different story. But now that we have
Mm.
to go to Germany and it'll be at 9 o'clock in the morning in the States, I don't think it'll be too crazy over here. But like I said, it'll be another football game, another opportunity against a really good team.
One more for you. Then you talked about these preparations for Germany. What are you guys doing that's different this week? Obviously, the travel is a big thing there. How has Andy and the staff, training staff there, prepped you guys to, like you said, 9:30 in the morning kickoff, jet lag, travel, etc.
We haven't started yet. I mean, today is our first day back, so we have to look over the tape for the last game. So we haven't even, talked about our plans for this upcoming week. So we'll find that out tomorrow. I'm not even sure what day we leave. But obviously it's gonna suck with both teams to have to travel over there. So, we'll both be on the same page of, how to deal with that time difference and, being able to go out and play a game at 9:30 in the morning, or what it'll feel like 9:30 in the morning to us. So
Right on, right on. Well, Marquez, certainly congratulations to you on the longevity of your career. Wish you the
Thank you.
best on Sunday, and thanks so much for joining.
Appreciate you.